That's really nice of you. So has everyone got one of these, or at least a piece of paper, pen? This next little while is going to be extremely different to what you're used to, perhaps. Everyone got one of these? Pretty important too, doesn't have to be blue. So, psychology, number one. Your psychology affects your physiology, should say, affects your psychology. So everyone stand up. I know you're going to have a food coma, so we all know this. You're going to be a bit sleepy. So stand up. Shake, you just did it. Third, brilliant, you just did that. Shake, good, good. So have a nice shake. Look up. Like this, into the ceiling, no one else can see you, look silly, do this. Ah. Thank you, excellent. I'll just see if you'd actually do it, I think that's lovely. Don't sit down there, don't sit down yet. Oh, no, no. Your philosophy affects your psychology, so turn to the person next to you, number one, smile. Turn to the person next to you and say this. So it's very simple, I like you. Go. It's just nice, isn't it? It's just a nice way to start, isn't it? If you're going to be social, you might as well start. Cool, everyone, right, sit down, nice work, well done. So, just a fun way to start, really. So, first thing first, you've got to deal with expectations, rightly so. I've got about an hour to teach you, around about 3 years. Some would say around about 9. So, it's going to be all at different levels. Some people here are going to be basic, some advanced, some super advanced. This is my point, though. Everyone know the 80-20 rule? Everyone know the 80-20 rule? Pareto, Parento, whatever it's called? Yeah, you say tomato, I say tomato. Either way, you might know pretty much all of it. But if that is the case, then it's the last 20% which will change your business forever. That's the point. And if you know everything, be happy you know everything already. Congratulations. My advice, therefore, is just start doing more of it then. Well done. If you know it all, cool. If you want the notes, and I think you will do at the end of this, just email me at dan@greatmarketingworks.co.uk, and I will send them to you. So write down dan@greatmarketingworks.co.uk. Bon. So, there's me. Thank you for the R, thank you. There's me. I talk relatively quickly, around about 220 words per minute. When I was young, I wanted to change the world, and I started a company called this, THDC. THDC was a hemp clothing company. We started off with very little money. We had to do something called guerrilla marketing. Has everyone here heard of guerrilla marketing? Cool. If you haven't, please write down guerrilla marketing. That's what you're going to need to be doing. We did it for different brands, not these ones. It became this company itself, was a guerrilla marketing company. We did events around the country, did pretty well for itself. With people like this, EasyJet, Carling, household names. Don't worry, the whole thing isn't at this pace, it's just this moment in time. The company grew and grew. Actually, it is actually, to be fair. So the company grew and grew, won a few awards, turned over this much. How much do you think this is? Anyone guess? £1 million, you're pretty close. Cool, so I sold it, went to Mexico. No, that's not me. Naughty. It will be if I keep eating the sandwiches at the rate I just did. And I found my brand values. I found my values sitting under a palm tree. I came to a realization. And I found my values, and that's my first thing to you, literally within 2 minutes. My first thing is this. What is your business's brand values? So what are your business's brand values? Please write down 3 words that sum up your business. Go. 3 little words that sum up your business. If you've never done this before, you have 30 seconds. Please also do this later on tonight. It's quite an important exercise. The reason being, if you don't know what your brand values are, you will not be able to do any social media, or not do it very well, because you might betray your brand values. So 3 little words that could sum you up. Who's never done this before? Put your hand up if you've never done it before. Cool, that's the reason why you're here today. Good, hooray, right, happy faces. So, all just write down brand values. Bon, 3, 2, 1, back in the room. I lost lots of money, never mind. I came back, oopsie daisy, came back a little bit despondent. It's actually another R, there's 3 or 4 of them in there, good. So, tail between my legs, an old business mentor of mine, I promise I won't do the voice, said, why don't you help small businesses instead? And that's what I do. Help small businesses grow up to around about 10 million. That's what I do as a job. Normally in the Northwest, but we're nationwide. I'm now international. Was going to go off to Nigeria. My wife banned that for reasons that are up to her. It's quite dangerous as well. It's quite dangerous. Cool. As the gentleman was saying, really busy week for me, Global Entrepreneurship Week. So, there's me, Google me, Dan Sodergren, Sodergren. Bon. I speak to different sized crowds, which is nice. That's me. I normally work in social, mobile, and digital. These kind of people, great for me. I talk, who's this guy? Shout it out. Fantastic, James Caan. It all depends on the age of the room on this one. When I told my parents I was doing talks with James Caan, they said, fantastic, is he still acting? It all depends if you know James Caan, very old actor. My parents are very old. Cool. This lady here, who I met again today, fantastic, we all know her, what a great talk she did. This chap here, Theo. Thank you, I can never say the second name, so thank you for saving me. And this chap here, and these are all government ministers. And this chap here. Bon. So I run my own digital agency as well. The reason why I put this in, it says Dan's digital marketing is uncommonly good. I don't know if you remember Doug Richards off the telly, but he says uncommonly good in that wonderful drawl of his. Personal notes, I got married, lucky lady, some say. Then we thought about having a baby, which we did. Yeah, there she's attended. You just missed the R, but it's there again. Excellent. So that 10 weeks old, there she goes. 3 months, first week of nursery. She's 18 now. I've got loads of these, by the way. Okay, this is when she was 2, which was literally 4 or 5 days ago. In fact, 5 days ago. She was 2, and there are 2 pictures there. Ah, I put it in because I just love my daughter. So why did I tell you all that? Well, obviously I love my life and my daughter, and I'm a massive egotist. But more importantly, it shows you some of these traits you need to have in social media marketing. I like to write these down. One trait is this, personality. You'll need to know your brand values, and you'll need to have personality. Doesn't mean you need to become a personality, but you need to have personality. Your brand needs to have a personality. Does that make sense to everyone? Now, if you're sitting there thinking, I don't have a personality, you have a much deeper problem, okay? Much deeper problem. And it's actually not, it's only because of the way you view the world. You actually do have a personality. You do, honestly. You're a tremendously important person. It's just the way you view the world. The other one is honesty. Honesty. Why should we have honesty with social media? Because people will instantly catch you out. Absolutely. Transparency. I didn't have to tell you the fact that I lost loads of money, but it's part of my brand story. It's just what happened. It's the honest truth. Also, maybe moving into smartphone technology. That last picture was taken on an app called Instagram. This is where social's going. So everyone please think of mobile phones and smartphones. Who here doesn't have a smartphone? Put your hand up if you don't. Fantastic. Look around. There's only about 4 or 5 people who don't. Is it a Nokia phone by any chance? They used to make phones. Doesn't matter. Tech joke. Cool. It's all this. It's LOSO-MO. Yeah, LOSO-MO, which is location, social, and mobile. That's the way of marketing. That's the way of the world we're going into. Bon. So let's go back. So which picture do you like the most out of these 2 pictures? This one on the left-hand side. Who says left-hand side? Put your hand up. Who says right-hand side? Cool. The right-hand side was taken with an app on an iPhone instantly. The other one was taken a digital camera. It took absolutely ages to do. This is the new modern world we're living into. Instant social media. That was put on Twitter by my niece instantly. So that's my story. Here's a horrible confession of mine. Nice little twist. Shock horror. I didn't even like the web when it first came out. Now, I'm old enough to understand a time before Google. Can anyone remember a time before Google? I do talk, some people just go, what? Before Google? There were things before Google? Yes, there were. There were books and things and newspapers. Amazing. Right. We used to teach people what to do, yeah? We'd promote this stuff out there called marketing, and people would learn it over time. That time has changed. We did marketing in the old-fashioned times. Now, we now have this thing called Web 2.0, okay, which is social media. The point being is this. Every month I have to relearn and redo my workshops because that's how quickly it changes. If we have time today, I'm going to talk about Pinterest as well, but we might not have time. Who here has heard of Pinterest? Put your hand up. Cool. Almost everyone. That's good. It's only been a few months. The big thing, and please write this down, social networking is working. And I mean that on 2 different levels. Number 1 is work. You have to do work. You're going to have to spend some time on it. And the other one is it's working. It's making money for small businesses right now. So, don't worry about this one. It's a bit boring. It's just me talking about my Twitter handle. You did a fantastic job of doing this. Thank you for that. I now have over 14,000 followers, and I specialize in digital marketing. Don't read any of that. It's boring. So that's just a nice Welsh recommendation. The point being is this, disclaimer at the bottom, that's how small the writing's going to go. So if you can't read that writing, please move forward now. No squinting. 3 seconds. Good. Up to you. Bon. Good. Big thing is this, I'm anti all these things. I'm anti Facebook, LinkedIn, all social media if you don't have a plan. Please write down social media plan because you're going to need one. This thing will suck all of your time unless you have a plan. If we don't have structure, we've got anarchy. And if we have anarchy, then where are we? Wonderfully xenophobic, joke this. 16th century France. Only I think that's funny. Only I think that's funny. There we go. Modern day England online. That's where we are, okay? So, really big news is this. You won't be able to see that, but you will do when I do this. SEO, please write down, search engine optimization, is now affected by your social media, okay? So the more people like you on Facebook, the more people share stuff on Twitter, it affects your website. It didn't used to. It now does. The biggest correlation is Google+, okay? You can write that down if that makes sense to you. You don't have to. So that's the reason why we want to be doing this. This is what we call semantic search. And this is the future of all search, by the way. This is what Google's moving into. The world's moving to semantic search because the rest is just SEO, which is search engine optimization. I'm not going to go on a rant about that because we haven't got time. But please do write down semantic search. This is one of the reasons you're going to do social media. It's going to give you a digital footprint for the next 5 years. And that's massively important. Bon. Question to you, therefore, is this. Why are you going to do some social media? And also, what kind of resources will you need to do so? So have a think now. Don't talk to the person next to you. We don't have time. But just think for your own business. Why are you going to do social media? And what kind of resources are you going to need? How much of your time are you going to spend putting into it? Or someone else's time? Just have a bit of a think. Write down something, even if it's just a percentage of your time. 30 seconds. Go. I love it. People are like, what? I have to write stuff down as well? This is insane. Absolutely. So, what kind of resources are you going to take? Because when you do social, it's going to take a lot of time. Boom. That's not 30 seconds. I can see if everyone's writing stuff down. That lady is good. Good. 3, 2, 1. Back in the room. Bon. So, are you making the wave? Are you making this wave, or are you planning to ride it? Because that's the difference. You can either spend lots and lots of money on marketing and try to make the wave, or you can ride this one home. My advice is ride it home, because this is a lot cooler. There's something called the conversation prism. Please write down the conversation prism. You can have a look at this. Google it when you get home. It's called the conversation prism. And this will show you the 187 different points there are for social media. Okay? Obviously, I can't talk about all of them today. That's insane. I'm going to try to cover 4 of them. But there are 187. There's actually now 188. A new one started the other day called Zulia, like Julia with an S. This is how quickly these things start. So, think about the conversation prism. Please write it down. There's only 3 things in life, and these are they. Copyright from me. Bon. There's only money, time. We're going to run out definitely of one of them today. Money, time, and I promise I won't run out of this one, which is love or energy. Okay? Energy is, well, matter is simply energy condensed. So we've only got time. I love that. Perfect chiming moment for that, wasn't it? So we've only got love. We've got energy. 2 things combined. We've got money and we've got time. So which one does it take? Every marketing strategy takes something. This is an obvious point for you guys. Just let you kind of a bit of a calm down moment. Radio ads, what do they take? Shout it out. They take money, loads of it. Flyering 10,000 people would take money and time, perhaps. Meeting people personally and networking would take time, lots of it, and most probably love and energy. If you turn up going, wow, I'm not really bothered, then that's the energy's bad, isn't it? And that's a bad thing, okay? Social media also takes. So what does it take? Social media takes and the hippie thing, love or energy. So if you don't love doing your social media, what should you do? Either stop or get someone else to do it. Or start loving it. It's going to be up to you because it's going to make you money. Okay? So do not think this stuff is magical. It is not. It will take time. It will take hard work. Bon. It's a tool like any other. Some tools are rubbish at some things, but great for others. Okay? So, other benefits would be this. Takes time but no money. Can go viral. Can be mobile. You can use tools to save time. You can link together ideas. Bon. Time check, reality check. We've got around about 50 minutes, in fact 47 minutes now, to do 5 social media platforms. So in conclusion, that is impossible. Of course it is. We've actually got 47 minutes left. In fact, that's so well timed, it's literally within 3 seconds. So that's nice. So, the good news is this. I'm here just to motivate you to try. I can't teach you at all, of course I cannot. I could teach you all if you give me a day. Maybe they should have. Cool. So, these are the ones. They're all out there. Social. Number 1, first things first, go to knowem.com. Knowem.com, please write down knowem.com, or wait for the notes, either way. And you can basically go there and you can protect your brand. So you, I love your face there. This is new. This is new. Excellent, brilliant. So, knowem.com, you go there and it'll basically tell you all the different social media places and which ones have already gone. So your brand name might be a certain thing. Which ones have gone, which ones are there, which ones you can get. It's massively important because legally, anyone can take your name on Facebook. Okay? As a brand, anyone can do this. Just be careful of it. So, second step, know how to do stuff. Right. Bon. First C is content. You know, write some stuff down. Now there's going to be 4 C's we're going to talk about. First C is content. Okay? Everyone can create content. Everyone. Who here has got a Twitter page? Or Twitter thing? Brilliant. Who's got a Facebook page? Who here's got LinkedIn? Exactly. There's no point in teaching you how to do it. You can do it in 3 minutes. Okay? However, just because you can be a creator doesn't mean that everyone does. You guys are entrepreneurs. You're the leading class. And absolutely right when what Julia said this morning. You are the 1% that are creators. So that's fantastic. There's a lovely rule, 99 and 1%. So 90% of people just consume stuff. Okay? 1% of people create. The other 9% do a little bit to kind of help change it. I can prove this by saying Wikipedia. Who here's written a Wikipedia article? Cool. Who here's read one? Exactly. 3 people put their hand up before. Everyone else has read them. So what could you do straight away? So when you go home, what could you do tonight? Apart from giggle. Yes, write a Wikipedia article. Absolutely. Just do it. Become a creator. Cool. So, second one's collaboration. So content, number one. Easy one for going home. Go home, become the authority in your area. Write a Wikipedia article. Okay. Number two, collaboration. Collaboration happens on 3 different levels. Conversations. If you want to do social media, you have to have conversations. You must have conversations. So you've got to start asking questions. I can't go into too much about how you start a conversation. I'm hoping I don't have to. So we've got to ask some open questions. What, when, how, and who. Co-creation. You start asking your customers to co-create things with you. This is what user-generated content is half the time. But you've got to start asking your customers to do so. This is why, actually, a lot of people get scared by social media. Because they'll say, well, if I ask my customers to say stuff, they'll say it's all rubbish. Okay? So what do you, if you're fearing that, what's the real issue? What's the real issue? Yeah, you're doing something that's rubbish. So you have to stop. Marketing is not about lying to everyone. I don't think that's what it's about. And then the last one's collective action, which we won't talk about. We might have time to talk about today. Each one of them is a stepping stone to the next level. So content, easy, we can all get pages. Then we have to start conversations. Then we have to move into co-creation. Then we can get collective action. And you guys want collective action because you want your customers to buy more stuff from you. Make sense? Bon. So, we can have conversations, Wikipedia. We just talked about that. Get rid of that. It'll be the notes. The third one's community. Please just write down from this slide the thing in green. A social object. You have to have a social reason for people being there, and that cannot be just your product or your service. Does that make sense to everyone? It cannot be the sales moment, cannot be the social object. Yeah, because people won't rally around your product or service. They might do if you're Apple and you're really lucky and you've changed the lives of everyone, but we're not going to be Apple. So what social community action can you get behind so people rally behind you too? Does that make sense? Cool. I'm going to try to stop saying, does that make sense? So, social object. Here's a social object. Does social media work? Well, we've got a black or brown president in America, twice apparently. I think social media works quite well. Works quite well. I think some people are gutted that it works so well, and mobile works too, but that's a different point. So, if I have time, I'll explain that. I won't have time. It's augmented reality, and I'm not going to have time to explain it today, unfortunately. Fourth one, collective intelligence. You don't have to write down anything here, just let the information wash over you. If you know a lot about your customers, I'm talking here to people that have large businesses, if you know enough about them and what they like and what they recommend, you can create whole business from that information. Okay? Proven by these guys here. Don't read any of that, because we can just sum it up with these guys. It's what they do. It's what Google does, what eBay does, what Amazon does. Collective intelligence. It's what LinkedIn does as well. Okay, let's get to the nuts and bolts of it. Bon. By now you'll have this grumpy baby face. You'll be like, oh God, there's loads in this one. There is. No grumpy baby faces. Remember, every single time I talk about something you don't understand, that's the point of today. I'm here to train you for next, 40 minutes, 43 minutes. So that's the point of today. So happy baby faces, because you're learning something new. Happy face. Oh, happy faces. Cool. Right, let's move on. So question, which ones out of these top 5 are you actually doing already? Are you blogging, using Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Pinterest? If you're doing all 5, fantastic. Fantastic. Let's teach you how to do it more. This is Social Media Explained. I love this explanation. You must probably have already seen it, but I love it anyway. I love it. Twitter, I'm eating donuts. I'm eating a donut. Facebook, I like donuts. Because that's what, of course, you talk about. Foursquare, this is where I'm actually eating them. Instagram, here's a picture of them. YouTube, here's a video. My favorite one is at the bottom. Google+. I'm a Google employee. Because that's basically that's the only people that are on there, to be honest with you. It's a bit naughty. It's a bit naughty. It's a bit naughty. It's a little bit naughty, but anyway, not from Google. So, bon, which ones are for you? First things first is this. You've got customers. I'm presuming you have customers or potential customers or a database of old customers, so to speak. What do you have to do then? Just got to ask them. That's all you got to do. Just ask them privately. Say, what are you on? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter, etc.? Just ask them. See where they are. See where they buy stuff. You might be quite shocked, actually, of exactly where they are. Ask them first. Right, everyone knows about blogging. Yeah, blogs. Easiest thing to do in the world, which is why most brands have got them. The thing I want you to think about today is, A, put your hand up if you have a blog. Excellent, right. If the other people that haven't put your hand up, real easy exercise for you. Just write down blog and then circle it. Yeah, and then just put it on the side, I need one of these. Easy, you remember it more, okay? So blogs. You can blog anywhere. Has everyone seen blogger.com? And WordPress. They're the 2 classic ones. As I say, I have 40 minutes to basically train you in as much social media as I possibly can. So keep writing stuff down, keep writing stuff down. They help your SEO. You can even read other people's if you really want to, but this is mainly for the Google robots, because most human beings don't read them. Okay? And a few bloggers actually have quite a bit of power. They're like the new online press. So blogs, 5 tips for blogging. On your own blogs, investigate your keywords. Does everyone here know their keywords for their industry or their particular business? If you're shaking your head now and panicking, great, just write down, investigate keywords. I was talking to people about this morning. All you need to do, go to Google Keyword Analysis, have a look. Can't do all that today. If you're putting your keywords in there, write down this, 5%. That's the optimum amount of keywords you need to put into your blogs, is 5%. That's only because I know that over 9 years of trying. So 5%, around about 4 to 7%. Okay? You could use this tool called Technorati and investigate about bloggers around the world. Yeah, my talk's completely different to everyone else's. There's lots of writing down. So you could use Technorati or Technorati. Big thing, if you're going to be talking to bloggers, never try to bribe them, okay? The gentleman there, he's absolutely right. Never bribe them because they will hate you. Yeah. Oh, they just go mental. Now, the problem is then bad PR then takes off and you can't even put it back again. Okay? They tend to be male and ego-driven. And they do it for free, and they think they're sincere. So treat them with kid gloves. They are quite powerful, so be careful. Bon. So how could you blog? You could use Blogger. Insider secret, on WordPress, you can do something called reblogging, where you don't even need to write the blog. You just repost it. So that saves a lot of time. Do not do this all the time, though. You still need to create your own content. But then you can like it. Bon. So, question. What can you do tomorrow to make your blogging more social? What could you do tomorrow to make some of your blogging more social? I'm going to move very quickly on with this one. Please make sure your blogs have the social buttons on them. Okay, so people can like them, people can tweet it, it can go social. Okay, so you need those social buttons. Can everyone see where these social buttons are on Blogger? Can you see? They're just tiny and here, which I think is a bit rubbish. So on WordPress, make them bigger. The bigger those buttons are, the more people will like it, the more people tweet it, the more people talk about it. And it does make a difference. You can see here by the numbers. When someone's Google Plus'd it just once, it doubles the amount of people that then have seen it. Okay? So each time it goes social, it doubles it. It goes viral. Okay, blogging done. Facebook. Future of Facebook. Everyone seen this? Timeline. Everyone seen Timeline? Yeah. Some people who were fans of Facebook just go, oh, I don't like it. Oh, I don't like it. It's here to stay with nothing we can do about it. Make sure for your brand you've got the very best picture up there. Okay, if you're a bit techie, then it's 850 by 315 in the way of pixels. The point is this, what kind of picture should you have up there, or could you have up there? So think timeline, what kind of picture can I have that's inviting and shows my brand values? Because people will make a snap decision about your brand based on the Facebook timeline. Bon, so, get rid of this. You can look at that in the notes. There's certain stuff you can't do, yeah, but I'm going to send you that so you don't have to worry. What I want you to think about now is this, the visual stuff. What can you do to make it look fantastic and show your brand values? So you can keep it simple, like that one, so I quite like. I like using pictures that sum stuff up. Could you tell something about this company just from that picture? You most probably could. I don't know if it's necessarily a company you want to work with because of it, but you could, couldn't you? Could you show behind-the-scenes footage of your company? It really depends on your brand values. Please be careful of using more than one picture. Does anyone like this particular picture? Anyone like it? No, everyone's no. Why? Why don't we like it? Why don't we like it? Too messy, isn't it? Too much going on, too messy? You don't know where to look? Brilliant. Think about it for your own timelines then. Think about all those things for your own timelines. Think about your brand values. Think about how you can sum something up which isn't just your product or service. How can you tell a more positive story? That's what social media is all about. So, question for you is this. What can you do tomorrow to make your timeline look nicer? Write down one idea that you could actually use, a photo that you could actually use. Just write down an idea to yourself so tomorrow you can create something. Write it down. Take 20 seconds out. Go. Milestones. Has anyone seen this? Milestones. You can start telling the story of your brand through Facebook, through certain really important times that have happened in your brand. Some people here have already seen it. Fantastic. Some people haven't. Start thinking about your milestones. Obviously, if you've only just started the business, there aren't that many. But aren't there? What about when you first came up with the idea? Yes, sir. Business to business, not as much as LinkedIn. I'm doing LinkedIn in 12 minutes. So B2B is different to B2C, absolutely, which is fine. The first question you have to ask is, where are your people? Where's your target demographic? If they're not on Facebook, just go to Bahamas for the next 8 minutes. and you can wander off. Cool. Oh, but your question, but people are people, so could you find customers through Facebook? Yes, definitely, because people deal with people. Depends. Can't teach that bit. How can we maximize our Facebook page? 5 top tips for this. Apart from making timelines look great, use milestones, of course. The pages themselves, using a human touch. Make the dialogue two-way. Hijack stuff. We're going to go through all these individually, so don't worry. And then optimize time-wise. And this is the big one. Make sure you have a social media calendar. So, number 1, use the human touch. Think about your brand values and show the human force of this. I will send you this, but Alan Partridge does something extremely lovely. You might not be able to see it from where you are. It talks about how people are ripping him off and taking all his download material for free, and they should be strung up. Now, of course, he's going to have a funny thing to him, so he can do this. Be careful of all humour, though, okay? So be human, but be careful of humour. Humour is a two-edged sword. Two-way as well is the dialogue. Make sure you use questions. Make sure you open up and talk to people. So, Berenjeris here have said, have you got the Friday feeling? They've asked a question, and more people interact because of it. A real big one, especially for small businesses, is this one. Hijack. Please write down hijack. Hijack other people's cultural events. Okay? Things that are happening in the public consciousness anyway. Ben and Jerry's have just done this with the Student Peace Alliance. Now, Happy Peace Day. They obviously don't own Peace Day. They haven't even sponsored it, but they've mentioned it. By mentioning it and having a conversation about it, loads of people have liked it. Does anyone know, on average, how many friends people have on Facebook? Anyone want to warrant a guess? On average? 7, 10, 200? Yeah, I think it's like 157 on average. So some people have more, some people have less. So each time they like it, they're going to advertise it to 147 people. Who would like free advertising to 147 people? One person. I don't know, I'm sure. Yeah, I think so, absolutely. That's the point of Facebook. That is the power of it. So also think about this. You have to start thinking about news feeds optimization. If you're going B2C, this is. If you're business to consumer, start thinking about when you put the news out, when you start going on Facebook, because there are optimized times when you can go on Facebook. And I'll let you just take home this last one. 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. is an optimum time on Facebook. It's when people are there and they'll interact. Okay? So not during work hours. See, that's opposite for LinkedIn, of course. So again, it's all about horses for courses. Bon. Last one. Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So create who here is international? Is anyone international? Makes it slightly more complicated. I'll talk to you about it later if that's cool. And then the last thing, think about a social media calendar. I'm seeing some shocked faces out there. This all does take time. If you want to do this properly, it's going to take a bit more effort. Because, of course, it costs you no money. But you're tapping into 600 million potential users. It's amazing what you can do. So think of different events you can tie into. Think about what content and when, because you can start seeding conversations. You can also start linking from your own blogs. So can you bring that in? Has everyone here heard of the 7 Ps? Prior, planning, prevents. Thank you. I'm glad you said that because I'm not allowed to. So thank you. Or poor performance. So exactly what you need to do. You need to have this hot content updated, because if you don't update your content, people will leave. Which is why on your Facebook page, when you've made it, you might get a few people there and then they start leaving. And you say, this Facebook stuff doesn't work. That's because you haven't had any conversations, you haven't co-created, and you haven't got a plan. That's the reason why they leave. I'm not saying this guy didn't have a plan, but I don't know if you've ever seen what's happened to Mitt Romney's Facebook page now he's lost. This is fantastic. He's lost a fan 1 every 6 seconds has left him. Now, I think that's a bit bad, because surely if you voted for him and liked him, just because he loses, does that mean you then go, oh, well, I don't care about this anymore? I would think that's a bit better. I know, different point. So, that's what you have to do. Facebook Insider Secret, social oomph, especially for the lady here who was international. This thing means, it's called social oomph. Please write it down if you've never heard of it before. Go and investigate it. It's called social oomph. What it means is you can then plan your Facebook posts, and you can do it in a certain time, so they can go out there. You can pump them out there. Who here has heard of social oomph before? Put your hand up if you had. Cool, 2 people. Good. That's the new stuff. Good. It's what? The first bit isn't, but after a while, if you're using it for a bit, yes. So freemium to start off with. Everything I'm going to talk about today, hopefully, is mainly free to start off with. Well, so why do people like brands? Well, not very much time on this. So why do people like brands? These are the main things. 70%, and please write this down. 70% of people like brands for special offers. So on Facebook, what do we give them? Precisely. Give the people what they want in the way they want it. So 70% of people like special offers. That's what we give them. Okay? Most people unfollow because you don't give enough special offers. And does anyone here now know that you can start using Facebook to sell things? So if you're going B2C, you can now start selling through Facebook. Okay, cool. So, question for you. What can you use tomorrow to be more social on Facebook? I'm going to let you have a bit of think about that for 30 seconds. So, what else could you do on Facebook? We talked about timeline. Talk about asking more questions, creating a social media calendar. Just write down one thing. There were 5 things there, just write down one. Yes? Is there something fickle about Facebook? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's something fickle potentially about all human relationships and emotion, because they change with the wind. However, can you make money from fickleness? Yes. It's called fashion or changing. Absolutely. Your point's a very deep one. And with 29 minutes, I don't, it'd be lovely, but I don't know, philosophy-wise, is it fickle to change your mind? Do we have free will? What's the deeper point? I mean, it's a lovely point, though. It's a great point. Let's talk about LinkedIn, because who here is B2B? Put your hand up if you're B2B. Oh, that's why you didn't like the Facebook stuff. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that. So, right, LinkedIn. It's not just adult Facebook, okay? Why should we do it? It makes us more money. It gives us new leads and more money. It's as simple as that. I'm not here on behalf of LinkedIn, but it's one of the best social media partnerships I've ever seen. I just think the platform's astounding. People use it for different reasons, but C-level executives use it. Okay? People use it. These are the kind of guys you're going for. If you're going for B2B, LinkedIn is the social media network for you. So start writing stuff down from now. So 5 top tips would be this. Become the go-to person. Become active in the social space. Who here is a member of a group on LinkedIn? Fantastic. Who here started a group? Cool. How's it going starting a group? Yeah, it's like, fair enough. My advice to you is simple. Do not start groups. It'll take too much time and too much effort. Seriously, it really does. It takes an awful lot of time and effort to do that. And because these people are so busy, they will be extremely unforgiving if you're not there all the time. Okay? So unless you can interact with them pretty quickly, they will not like it. And in fact, they'll do the opposite. It'll do bad PR for you. But you can do this. You can become the go-to person instead. So you go and join other people's groups. Who here has hit their limit of 50 groups? A few people? Cool. That's an easy job for the rest of you then. Go and join 50 groups. Okay? Really, join 10 or 5 that you love, but join 50 anyway. Right, what else can you do? Become known as the expert. Who here is using LinkedIn Answers? Cool, brilliant. By the way, each time you don't know what I'm talking about, just write it down. So LinkedIn Answers, because you can become known as the expert. Let's put it a different way. Who would like to become known as the expert in their particular field? Hooray, good. That's what you need to do. But that's how we do. There are tools to do this. One's called LinkedIn Answers. We'll talk about that in a second. Has everyone seen LinkedIn Shares? And LinkedIn Signals? It's a great way of social proofing. I'm going to explain all these in detail. And then be the host. Always investigate the party first, but be the host. Even if it's not your party, pretend to be the host. It gives you social proof. People like that. And the last one, I'm not going to talk about today because I don't know yet if it works, is this one. Has everyone seen the endorsement thing that's popping up now? I don't know if it works yet. I've got 3 accounts, and I'm doing tests on all of them, but I don't know if it works yet. So I can't teach you about it. But I think it's quite a nice idea, but I don't know if it works. Does that make sense? I refuse to teach people stuff I don't know it works. Recommendations, however, definitely work. They're core to it. So LinkedIn groups, number 1. All these groups are augmented reality because that's what my client does. So my first job is to join all the augmented reality groups and then start to seed the conversation with our brand values. And this is the level you'll need to go to if you want to use LinkedIn properly. A gentleman asked me this morning as well, said, should I spend the money on the upgrade? I think there's one for $19. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely worth it. Absolutely worth it. You could also do this. I don't know if you've ever done this. When you look at groups, you can click on it, right-click. You can investigate them. How many members there are. Where they are in the world. This kind of information is gold dust. I mean, you used to have to pay for this information. Can you remember back in the day? You used to have to pay for this. Now LinkedIn gives it for free. So this says 32% of them are into marketing. Of course it is. It's B2B marketing. That's their main key word. Then how many directors? Where they are, where the biggest percentage of they are in the UK. You can then click into it again. See how many members they've got. And is it increasing? Or does it dip? Is it seasonal? Find all this information first. See how many conversations people are having. What the activity level's like. Boom. And then this one. Start seeding the group. Apologies that you might not be able to see this in intense detail, but you start asking questions, but also mentioning other people in LinkedIn. okay? So just like you would with normal networking. It might not be as crass as, oh, you know so-and-so. Oh, so do I. My goodness, we both know so-and-so. But that's the kind of stuff you need to be doing inside the groups. And making sure you've got a link. So make sure in the groups you start linking to your stuff. You can then start to look at Google Analytics and see if it works. That makes sense to everyone. So make sure you put your links in, start seeding the conversation with lots of lovely keywords. So that keyword analysis you did before, because Google can see inside LinkedIn, all this will help. Bon. So this is what you can do. You can start becoming an influencer. You can see there's yours truly. There's 17,000 members of this one. There's me at the top, one of the biggest influencers in this area for my client, because that's my job. And that's what I suggest you all do. You don't get me to be your social media manager. My wife hates me when I say this kind of stuff. But don't get me to do it. Do it yourselves. You know your brand values more than I do. Just take your time to do it. Cool. So what could you seed with? Well, this is a really cool tool. Use the Skills Finder. Please do write this down. If you're into LinkedIn stuff, please do write this down. Use the Skills Finder to find out what people are interested in inside LinkedIn. Because then you can then talk about what they're interested in inside LinkedIn. Make sense? It's like being psychic when you turn up to a networking group. It's spooky what you can do with this stuff. It's all free information as well. So you can then start thinking about topics of conversation you could use or different angles for conversations. So let's say, for example, mobile marketing. I'll know if mobile marketing is a good thing to talk about. But if you see at the top, the relative growth, I really should be talking about mobile advertising, because that's what's growing more. Is anyone else hot in here, or is it just me? It's quite warm. That's really just me. So that's what you can do. You can then start seeding the conversation. You could also then see the other people who are talking inside the group. And then what do? Because it's social media, what do you do? When you can see other people talking in the group, you join in. Exactly. You get social. So these people that are chatting, remember, 1% of people will create stuff, will make the group, will run the group, 9% will do the chatting, and everyone else will just consume. So what do you want to be? You want to be inside that 10% that make the difference in the world. So you have to start having those conversations. What else could you do? LinkedIn Answers, their version of Q&A. LinkedIn Shares, it's their like it button. It's the same thing for Facebook, but for like it. LinkedIn Signals, talk about these individually. So, I want to show you something at the very end of this, which will also potentially blow your mind. So you can see here, has anyone ever clicked into their own profile a little bit further? And you can start seeing where you're active. You won't be able to see that, unfortunately, but one of them in Cardiff, because of the work I did last year. And you can see the different areas and stuff that I've done over in Los Angeles. So you've got to start thinking, how can I raise my profile in different key areas? Who here, one lady was international. Who here is very local in their B2B? Is anyone here very local? Cool. And that's your job. Your job is to make sure that Cardiff is the top one for you in that area. And you just keep hitting home, but with different keywords. I will move on to LinkedIn Answers. Very, very simple thing. Very, very basic idea. People get to rate your answer to a certain question. Yep. And then you then get posted. And the higher your ranking, the more of an expert you become. And people look at this. And the reason why I know people look at this is because we get more work from it, from a couple of my clients, purely from our position there. Because we're the thought leader. Put your hand up if you'd like to be a thought leader in your industry. I'd hope you'd all want to put your hand up, if you're the boss especially. So, does it work? Well, as I just said, yes, it does for our clients. It's an augmented reality. We answer a few questions. We see the conversations. We get more clients because of it, because they come back to us. We haven't got time to talk about this in too much detail, but it's LinkedIn Shares. When you look at an article you like the look of, you can click on it. Not only can you see who else shared this article, but you can send it to individuals and to groups. Can everyone see the power of that inside that environment? Has anyone done that before? Cool. Again, if you haven't, only 2 people put their hands up. Brilliant. Everyone else, write it down. Just write down signals or shares and think about how you could do it. So you don't have to create the content. You can literally just say, I've read this. Isn't it cool? Oh, and by the way, you're quite cool too. And you find out who the cool people were, of course, by looking in different groups and seeing who the thought leaders were. You can then influence all of them in one very, very swift move. Okay? So, if you are the decision maker in your business, this is crucial. You just do a bit more investigation. You find out the keywords, you find out who's talking and blogging about certain things. You don't want to write the blog yourself, fair enough. I would advise that you write the blog as well, but then you can share this with different individuals. And you go through, and because it's a really cool thing that this guy said, he's a thought leader over in, I think it's in Sweden, mobile augmented reality, I send it to that group. I take just a sentence out of what he said, semi-pretend it to be my own, which is maybe a bit naughty, but I've taken it from his article, give him the credit for it, of course, and I send it to the group. And the group knows more because of me. I become the thought leader. That's our job. Won't talk about this, don't need to, but what I want to show you this, I love this bit. Get rid of that, get rid of that. This is it. Have you ever seen this? I wanted to do this live, but I thought it might break. It's called LinkedIn Maps. Okay? This is a visualization of your network. Okay? So if you've never seen it before, just write down LinkedIn Maps. You'll do this, and I would love to have time to do this live, but we only have 12 minutes left. So, this is the insider secret. You can click on each of these little nodes, each of these little dots, and you can find out who you have in common. It's a lovely visualization tool, especially for sales. This is like the Rolodex. Anyone remember having a Rolodex? Or a Filofax years ago, depending how old we are? It's like that, but on steroids. It's insane. It means you don't have to have a memory. So basically, did anyone see the different colors here? Each of these different colors represents different areas that I work in. Student entrepreneurship, innovation, mobile technology, etc. I can then click on each of these nodes, and I can see what we have in common. So David Buzzard, I can see just from all the green that he's definitely into student entrepreneurship. Yeah? Can you see how powerful this would be in a sales conversation? Because then you just say, oh yeah, of course, you know so-and-so, don't you? Now this is just I don't know, if anyone in the sales environment ever had a conversation and go, of course, I know so-and-so, of course, we played golf the other day. I don't play golf, but if I did, that's what you could say, or we met in this bar. You can do exactly the same thing now, but on LinkedIn from the comfort of your own home or your office. It's tremendously powerful because it shapes your conversations. And of course, every person will be different. They'll be in different colors. Can anyone think of at least one thing you can do with LinkedIn Maps? Is that a useful tool for you? Especially if you're in B2B. Should be. It's a big one. So, the question is this. What tool will you use tomorrow? What's it called? Thank you. Oh, LinkedIn Maps. If anyone said Google, then I'd be slightly annoyed. Okay, but LinkedIn Maps, you could use that. That's what you could do. So that's really, really powerful for that. 12 minutes. We go. Bink. So, has everyone learned something so far? Yeah? Just making sure, because they only give me an hour. Okay? Twitter. Everyone heard of Twitter? Of course you have. Big things. What can it do for you? Some people argue Twitter is a bit silly and a bit pointless, and it can be extremely fickle, absolutely, with different trends. But this is important. It will give you a more personal brand. It's really, really good for press relationships. It's extremely good for this. It also lets you, because Twitter's quite cool at the moment, or still, I don't know, a little bit in compared to, let's say, email, etc. Twitter will let you cold contact people you normally couldn't, okay? And I could explain the psychology behind it, and if we have time, I will. But the other thing you can do is you can track what people are saying about you or about your keywords. Can everyone now understand why it's important you find your keywords first? So you can type into Twitter search, and this is exactly like psychic market research to everyone on Twitter. You can literally type in and say, what are people thinking about great marketing right now? And then what do? If you find lots of people who are following that keyword, what could you do? Oh no, I've taught them nothing. I've been here for a bit, I've taught them nothing. What can you do? Strike up a conversation, absolutely. Be social. Strike up a conversation, you could do. Be a nice way of doing it. So cold contact, that's one of the ones that most people like to do. They like the idea of contacting people through Twitter. Yes, it does work. It won't work forever, by the way. Very, very soon, people will have gatekeepers on their Twitter handles because that's just the way the world's going to be. At the moment, it's better. You can actually talk to CEOs of companies, and they don't have a secretary monitoring their Twitter page, but they will do very soon. I just said to one person saying, I don't even tweet. That's fine. So, you can also drive more traffic to your website and your blog. That's the other thing you need to do, because you want to make sure Twitter makes you money. It's not just for fun stuff. You want to drive sales with it as well as you can. A big one, depending on the size of your company, is you can provide amazing customer service. Can anyone think of a way that you can provide amazing customer service with Twitter? Knowing what we know about search. Search for your own name, you could do, yeah, or your company name. But this is the thing, you can also, and you don't have to do this, but you could also provide them with a hashtag with a certain word there. So then you could search that hashtag and you could find out if they have problems straight away. That is really, really powerful for people, because then you get back to them relatively quickly compared to email. That's another nice thing you can do. Of course, you guys being social and being the creators, you'll already be on there looking at industry news and events. You'll already be doing that anyway. What I want to think about potentially as well is this one. It depends how big your organization is. If it's a one-man band especially, you can start to develop and test new products and new ideas out there on Twitter first and use them as market research. Just like the gentleman was talking about before, he didn't make anything until he knew there was a marketplace for it. Twitter is a really powerful way of you doing it. And how much does Twitter cost? Nothing. Just takes time. The last one is this. People think it's a bit spooky, and it is. You can now pinpoint customer locations within 20 miles. So within the city, really. And last week, they brought out, you can now do it by gender as well, which is really weird. So you can start doing your pay-per-click through gender. And some people here might be thinking, is it 100%? No. No, it is not. I'm not going to go into why and whys and wherefores of that one. Cool. So Twitter for Business. Good for joint venture partnerships. If you're at that level now where you're going to be wanting to work with other businesses, and I'm hoping after you listen to Julie before, you realise that's where we're all at. You're going to start to look for people that you can work with. That David and Goliath thing, well, it could be David and David go for Goliath. So use Twitter to do your joint venture partnerships. Another thing you can do, absolutely brilliant for PR. Journalists love it when you tweet to them. And what do you think you tweet to them when you want to talk to a journalist? But what do you do before then? Yep, but before then, what could you do? You could ask them a question. But what I love you could do, you could go, I read your article last week. I thought it was one of the best things. Absolutely, yeah. Compliment first, as we all do in conversations. So, don't lay it in too heavy-handed with your story. Say, I love the story you did there. Brilliant. And obviously, maybe don't be that silly about it, but you know what I mean? Have a bit more style and finesse. Big one, stalk the leaders. Twitter is the only place you're allowed to stalk people. Stalk the leaders. Glean the information from them. Okay? It's still seen as complimentary. So follow them first. Follow them first. Follow your MPs. Yes, please. You've got to be careful about aggressive following. If you follow more than 1,000 people in a day, Twitter will ban your account. And how do you think I know? 999. Where's it gone? What? I can't believe it. So, there's two different points to that, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But in fact, that's a brilliant segue. Thank you for that. There are some rules for this, of course. There is a different culture. So there's arguments for and against. Should you follow loads of people and expect them to follow back? That's a strategy. I think people could see through it. It's more importantly, how do you engage with them once they are a follower? Does that make sense? So once they are a follower, do you start conversations? Are you co-creating? Are you being social? Or are you just looking for the numbers? Because numbers are a kind of vanity matrix for it, aren't they? I've got loads of followers, but do you actually engage with them? Because if you don't engage with them, it doesn't make you any more money. Really? 7. Fair enough. Okay, cool. So, think about retweets and the Friday follow. So, very, very quick one. When you get things right on Twitter, this happens in a couple of days. Bink, this happens, or this happens. So, my first bit of advice is set up a filter so you get all your Twitter followers into a certain filter place. It's a much easier thing to do. Okay, 5 big mistakes are these. Make sure you have a photo on there. People do not want to follow your logo, because they won't. Again, this is all based on me testing it and doing it. Okay, having a generic biog, very, very boring. Think about what's in it for them. Why would they follow you in the first place? What tweets are you going to deliver? Having a boring background. Spend some money on that background. Tell your brand story through the background. Has everyone here heard of Fiverr? Fiverr with 2 R's. It costs you $5. Just go get someone else to do it. Jazz up that background. It costs $5, Fiverr. Or come to my company. It costs 150 quid. Get a Fiverr. It's much, much cheaper. Cool. Also, be careful of names. Names must mean something. And if you're egotistical like me, you might have thought Dan Sodergren was a brilliant name. But no one can remember how to spell it. So, when I was Dan Sodergren on Twitter, I got 4 followers. One of them being my mum, which is slightly sad, and one of them being her friend. It's not true. But now, when it's UK marketing help, I've got 14,000. Why do you think that is? Because that's what people want. They want help in marketing in the UK, so I tell them that story. It's also got a lovely keyword in there. Does that make sense to everyone? So marketing is one of my keywords. So think about your keywords. And then the big one, gentleman's there was just talking about it, but I think snobbery. I try to follow those who follow me. So if you follow me in the next couple of days, I will try to follow you back. I might not be able to do that instantly, of course, but I'll definitely try to. So I think there's a certain etiquette about it. Okay, last tips for Twitter are these. Tweet on the days that are best for your industry. You can look at something called Buffer App to find that out. So just write down Buffer App, and that will be able to tell you by looking through your own Twitter feed. Tweet 4 times a day or less. Make sure you add in links. And please do make sure you use something called retweet. Tell people to retweet your stuff, and then it will go viral. Just put in the word retweet, and you'll be amazed how many people will do it based on that. Include your hashtags, but don't put in more than 2 hashtags per tweet. And then my other one, use images to drive the highest engagement. The more you can tweet photos that tell a brand story, the better it is. So use images, don't use too many hashtags, yes? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you could. Depending which way you did it round, I would use links and that. So I'd use pictures and a hashtag rather than links and a link. So that's two links in one thing. Okay, cool. But do remember what you say. Remember your brand values. You won't be able to see it. Maybe you won't be able to see it. Maybe you will. This is meant to be quite a serious B2B business. And Steve, the CEO, has decided to say they weren't even any good. They played like effing Stoke. Okay, and that's his swear word, which is fair enough. But obviously that's a personal tweet he's sending out, and I don't think that's that professional. Okay, especially if his customers are from Stoke. Okay, so insider secret, please just write someone down to finish off with. We've got two things. We've got Tweet Spinner, again free to start off with, and Manage Flitter. So two more tools. They're called Tweet Spinner and Manage Flitter. The reason why you'd like these is this. Number one, you can change your profile. Number two, you can follow people by keyword. This is the automation you can do, follow them by keyword, so we know how powerful that could be. And you could also follow with who they follow as well. So this is a really easy and quick way you can get those numbers up of the right kind of people. So, think about different tactics you can use. I've been told I've got 2 minutes left. Really? It says 8 here, but that's fine, okay. So, that's Twitter. Has everyone learned something new about Twitter? Yeah, good. If you haven't, come and have a chat with me. I have 2 minutes left. Who here is going B2C and targeting women? Anyone? Few people. So Pinterest is for you. Pinterest is for you. I will go through this extremely quickly. It's a visual mechanism where people can pin things to virtual boards. It's amazing what's happening with Pinterest right now. Do not read any of this screen unless it's up to you. You don't have to. 40% of this kind of traffic's happening. This is the reason why you want to be using Pinterest. It's tremendously good. Let me give you 5 top tips before I go for Pinterest alone. Okay? Make sure that it's high quality photos. Make sure they're slightly sexy and make sure they're lit well. We're going to live in a very visual world very soon with the internet. It's all going to turn into a visual mechanism. This is important for you all. How do you make your product or service look good? Remember your brand values. Don't just think about your own individual product or service. Think about the story behind it. Think about things that you love too. Write very, very, very quick and to the point descriptions because people won't read things in Pinterest. Make sure you have, or if you can do, and I was just talking to Fran, this is lovely for your own business as well, infographics are really the future of information. It's all the visual mechanism. This is the future of things. So start thinking, how can I create infographics for my business? This is the same for B2B, B2C, because then people can link to it, instantly see what you're talking about, and they don't have to read loads of text. Okay? Study your target audience, which we always talk about in this one. And then my last one for Pinterest, this is only for the 7 people that said about Pinterest, run a competition because they love contests. So best picture, they just love pinning that kind of stuff. Okay, demographic, by the way, for Pinterest is around about 93% women. Okay, so if you're going for men of a certain age, Pinterest is most probably not for you, depending on their own orientation. Big reason to do it is because of loads and loads of traffic. More and more, the whole web is going towards this visual mechanism. Okay. Do I have enough time for the future of social? 1 slide? Yeah, beauty. Cool. Is it worth your time? Okay. This is the big thing. It's all going to be semantic search. Okay. This is the future of social. You can't not do social media anymore. It's going to be your digital footprint. It's not just likes and comments anymore. There's loads and loads of stuff that goes around the algorithm. The thing all I want you to write down is this. Clout. Please write down the word clout. And another one which is called peer interest, or peer index, should I say. So clout and peer index. If you want to get to know your customers, especially in the B2B realm, and you want to make sure you're contacting the thought leaders online in that industry, you can use clout to see how much clout they've got online, and peer index to see how much clout they've got compared to their friends in the industry. Can anyone see how powerful that bit of information would be? So you then know how much, basically, you'd know who's a VIP for your business, if they really know what they're talking about, especially online. So this is clout, boo hiss, because I don't really like clout, and peer index, hooray! And this is what you can do. So my advice as well is go home, connect to peer index, see how you're doing, benchmark yourselves. Go into clout, benchmark it, see how you're doing, and then see if you can get better and better. I didn't have time today to talk about these things, which is a real shame, but this is where it's all heading. Mobile phones and smartphones, because most people are more social on their mobile phone. So start thinking for your own business. If I'm going to get all this social media stuff, how do I put it through to a mobile site? Because they're more likely to be mobile than anything else. Quick show of hands, who here has a mobile optimized web page or website? Cool, that's good. That's a take home for 90% of you. There's a thing you could use called Duda Mobile, which is totally free. And Google have a free landing page you can create, which is for mobile sites. Has everyone here learned something new about social media? My apologies, I've only been given an hour to go through all that. It usually takes a day and a half to do. I have a bit more, but I won't. So if there are any questions. Hootsuite is the one I use. Yes, Derek, very much. Or SocialUmp, because you can then time it. Buffer app will do the timing for you as well. Yes. Yes, absolutely. I think it's a good idea. I think that's like online PR, so the more you can get other people to co-create, and that's the idea of it, the better and more social it is. Yes?
You mentioned your brand values. How do you keep them separate from your personal interests?
Now that's a really deep point and a deep question. Is that if you're a one-man band? If there's only you and a few other people in the business, or the whole thing? Well, okay, if it's a professional account and it's quite a big business, I would say have another different Twitter account and say these tweets are not representative of the company, especially if you're going to swear and say other stuff. Okay? You could set up 2 different LinkedIn accounts. Personally, nowadays, I think with the level of transparency we have, I'd be careful anyway of even having that. Or maybe work for a different company, because you don't share their brand values, if that's the truth, because that's exactly where we're going to go. So, I mean, don't do that, of course. That sounds awful, doesn't it? Make sense?